Welcome back to Inside XR Design, the series where we explore the best of immersive design. Today, we're talking about how to make an incredible VR trailer using just in-game footage. No mixed reality setups, no complicated compositing, just smart planning and a proven playbook. And stick around, because at the end, I'm going to share a checklist of key technical considerations to make your trailer shine. And we'll look at a trailer that exemplifies everything that we're about to talk about. Now first, a quick check to make sure that we're on the same page about why trailers matter in the first place. Here's the thing. Your game doesn't sell your game. Your trailer sells your game. You can make the greatest game in the world, but if you can't articulate to people why they should try it in the first place, then lots just never will. So I cannot stress this enough. You can't let the marketing of your game be an afterthought to your game development. It's part of your game development. If you spend years making a game, but just a week or two making the thing that attracts people to buy it, that's just not the best plan. So how do you craft a trailer that turns heads, even without the complexity of mixed reality? Let's break it down in 3 easy lessons. The first and maybe even most important lesson we'll talk about today is the hook. The hook is the thing that makes your game stand out. It's one very specific thing that people see and say, I want to do that. It could be really cool combat, a unique art style, a creative gun, or a fun-looking mechanic that other games just don't have. It's your game's signature. Whatever it is, it should stand out as uniquely fun or interesting compared to other games in the same genre. And yes, that means you should be very aware of other games in the genre in which you're working. Without the hook, people won't see a clear reason to buy your game over another similar game. And here's something that's really important to understand. For your trailer to have a hook, your game needs to have a hook. If you don't already know right now, off the top of your head, what your game's hook is, figuring that out is step number 1 before you even think about making a trailer. Okay, now let's look at an example to see this in action. The first trailer we're going to look at is from a game called Hellsweeper VR. Watch and see if you can tell me what the hook is.
Oh, it's almost time. Time for battle. The thrill of the fight. Ain't it grand? You finally accepted the True Vine's terms to repent through the bloodshed of errant demons, those who have spilled out into the lands in twain. So, may your swoop be long. Hellsweeper.
Okay, so what's the hook? If you said something like unique combat, you got it. Literally, before any logos appear, we see 10 seconds of some genuinely unique looking VR combat, with the player using interesting weapons and powers and flying through the air. And the game's combat continues to be emphasized throughout the whole thing. They don't stop and bother us with lore or some abstract exposition, they just keep showing the hook. The trailer is saying, this is why you want to play our game. And that brings us to our next point. Show, don't tell. Great trailers don't tell you what's great about the game. They show you. And in VR, this is even more critical. People need to see the fun to understand why they should put the headset on to check out your game in the first place. Boneworks by developer Stress Level Zero nails this concept by letting its gameplay speak for itself. Let's watch.
You've come all this way.
They found you, like physical world you.
The way this trailer shows lots of these very unique moments the players can experience in the game creates a picture in our mind about what it will feel like to play the game. And that brings us to our third lesson: tell a story. Now, importantly, when I say tell a story, I am not saying explain your game's narrative. Your goal is to show viewers what they will do and how they will feel when playing your game. So that's the story you're trying to tell with your trailer. And while it might be tempting to just capture general gameplay footage and then figure out how to cut clips together later, a better approach is to decide ahead of time what are the most important things you want people to see. Not only should you decide exactly what moments you want to show, but you should also arrange them in a narrative arc. Simply put, that means an introduction, rising action, and a climax to leave the audience with something memorable. That's exactly what developer Respawn Entertainment did with this excellent trailer for Medal of Honor Above and Beyond. As we watch, notice how they carefully choreographed and then acted out intentional moments to create a cohesive story about how players will feel as they play the game. When it comes to spatial design, communicating with your team to tell an effective story is challenging because most creative and prototyping tools are made for 2D output. ShapesXR is a no-code collaborative prototyping tool that's completely native to spatial design, empowering designers to create 3D prototypes at scale without experience in complex tools like Unity or Blender. And ShapesXR does more than mockups. The scenes feature works like a frame-by-frame storyboard, so you can show your team how your design should respond to user inputs and interactions with absolutely no coding. You can easily map out entire apps and experiences, making use of a wide range of built-in shapes to build out your scene. You can also import and synchronize your entire UI from Figma and export your creation directly to Unity for further development. When the time comes for design review, multiple users can collaborate from other headsets or even from a web browser, allowing anyone to give feedback or make changes in real time. When it comes to spatial design, ShapesXR helps your team tell an effective story by staying on the same page throughout the entire design process. And you can get started for free by scanning this QR code or finding the link in the video description. Now let's quickly talk about a few key technical considerations for a VR trailer. These are important because presentation speaks to competence. Even though you aren't expected to be a studied filmographer or an expert director, if you don't meet the basic expectations of a trailer, people won't be confident that your game meets basic expectations either. So the first thing is to use a smooth spectator camera for capturing your trailer footage. Even though the world looks normal when you're in the headset, when played back on a flat screen, the motion can look erratic because of how much the player's head moves while playing. Adding a camera smoothing function to the spectator screen is like having a Steadicam filming your trailer instead of doing it handheld. Second, capture at 60 frames per second. Even with camera smoothing, there's still a lot more motion in VR gameplay footage than what you see in a flat screen game, especially with how players move their hands so much up close to the camera. Increasing the frame rate of your capture makes the motion more fluid, so it's easier for viewers to really understand what's happening on the first watch. And of course, you not only need to capture at 60 frames per second, but also make sure that your game is running smoothly above 60 frames per second. VR players are sensitive to unstable frame rates since frame stuttering can be uncomfortable in a headset and kill immersion. So make sure your trailer footage is smooth to reassure players that your game will be smooth too. Third, if your game has dark scenes, absolutely consider brightening the footage either in post or in the game itself. Your game is naturally going to be tuned to have the desired brightness in a specific VR headset, but this rarely translates to the right brightness on a monitor. So make sure your footage looks bright enough to be plenty visible on a flat screen and even on a little phone screen, even if that means temporarily increasing the game's brightness beyond how you would want it to appear in the headset itself. When I capture footage for VR games in this series, I almost always brighten dark scenes during editing to make them easier for all of you to see. And hey, if you appreciate that, what I would really appreciate is a thumbs up on this video. And last but not least, make sure you are capturing your initial footage and doing your final video output in high quality. You're inevitably going to upload your trailer to streaming platforms like YouTube, which is going to crush the quality of your footage. Uploading a very high quality source will help offset loss in quality. And as platforms and game storefronts improve their streaming quality, you'll have future-proofed yourself by making a high quality master from the outset. If you start by capturing low quality footage or render out a low quality finished video, it's going to hamper all the hard work you put into making a great VR trailer. High quality is, of course, an ever-changing concept given how people's screens and internet connections get better over time. As a general rule of thumb for 2025, I would personally aim for a 100 megabits per second capture and a 100 megabits per second final output file rendered at 4K. And again, this should all be at 60 frames per second. So let's quickly recap before our final example. We talked about 3 key lessons: have a hook, show, don't tell, and tell a story. And we talked about several important technical considerations. In this final example, let's watch how all of this comes together in one great trailer.
Alex?
I'm here. So what's the plan?
If we can get this weapon, what we're doing here could change things forever.
There's no straight shot to the vault. I'm gonna head inside, find a way out. Got it.
I'm with you every step of the way.
You're gonna need a gun! Don't worry, it's unloaded. It's unloaded now! Combine chatter's really picking up. They know you're coming. You need to get out of here, now. Oh God.
They've got Dad.
They're gonna find out what he knows, and then they're gonna kill him.
All this is my fault. I never told you. I couldn't. I'm so sorry, baby.
You will not save him. Alex Vance alone cannot prevent his fate.
Close your eyes, honey.
Thank you so much for joining me for another episode. Like the others, we have a quick survey that might take 2 minutes to fill out. I mean, honestly, probably not even. We'd love to get your feedback on this episode. We want to make this series as great as it can be, and your feedback really helps. You can get to the survey by scanning the URL here or find it in the description below. And if you are still with me here, I suppose you really enjoyed this video. Do me a favor, if you know anybody else in VR land that would like either this video or this whole series, send them a link. I'd really appreciate it.